Live from Kakariko Village. Broadcast throughout the Retroverse, transmitted to the real world via a maze of wires connecting a Super Nintendo to a Wii, to a Wi-Fi network, and finally to the internet. The Techno Funk Boy presents the Retro Zoo Super Show. Now here are your hosts, Kai and Steven. Why are you so excited?
I'm excited because we're finally going to do it, Drum. We are finally going to do it. It's happening. It's happening right here, right now. It's going to happen.
You are canceling the show.
Right. No! What are you talking about, canceling the show?
Well, I thought that was overdue.
We're not canceling the Drum. Okay, forget it. What? I'm sorry. Welcome, everybody. This is the Retro Zoo Super Show. For those of you who are just joining us for the first time, this is a retro gaming podcast that originates from deep within a Super Nintendo that is hooked up to a Wii that is then connected to the internet and allowing us to broadcast over the however this internet thing works, right into your smartphone, into your tablet, into your desktop, into whatever it is that you're using to listen to us right now. But we really do appreciate you joining us. For those who do come back loyally every single week, we really do appreciate it. We can't be here without you, and we do look forward to joining you each and every week right here on the Retro Zoo Super Show. I am Kai. I am one of your hosts. We are joined by our producer, Drum, who you have previously heard, casting doubt and disillusionment over the broadcast.
Well, I looked at the recent download numbers.
The download numbers are fine. Okay, guys. I mean, Drum. I still, despite everything, I appreciate you being here. How are you doing?
I am functioning normally, just concerned about the numbers.
I know you're concerned. Forget it. Okay, we got a lot to tackle today. What I am really excited about is that I have been holding back. I've been holding back on you, and I know that I shouldn't. I know I shouldn't, but I have been trying to temper my passions. I have been trying to hold back the excitement within that is yearning to just burst out and just honestly just to gab about Earthbound forever. And so far I have refrained because, it's no secret that retro gaming fans have a tendency to have a great fondness for Earthbound, and the retro gaming podcasts that I frequent, and there are many, they are also very fond of Earthbound, and they have these big deals when they start talking about Earthbound, and I totally understand that because I'm making a big deal about it right now. But I didn't want to just do yet another episode about Earthbound. I wanted to tackle it in a particular way, and something that that would be a little bit different. And so what we decided was this. And this is going to be how we approach Earthbound. But I'm not going to tell you about it right now. Just suffice it to say that in the second half of the broadcast today, we are going to start chatting about Earthbound, and that discussion is never going to end, because we are going to nitpick it to death, just to death, in just the most epic and inspiring ways ever, so that all of you Earthbound mother geeks out there are going to be thrilled and excited, and those of you who just don't like the game, please stay tuned anyways, because we're not actually going to talk a lot about the game today. What we're going to talk about is...
I thought you were going to wait till the second half.
I'm just so excited. Drum, I'm excited. I'm excited. A little bit of news. So one of the big things that is coming up in the very, very near future is the Big 20. Now, what this is it's a race event where the competitors, do a series of challenge in 20 games that were on the original NES. Now, a lot of these are, the challenges beat the game, but some of the longer games, like you need to get to a certain point, or you need to accomplish some certain goal. So the list of games were just announced, a couple of weeks ago, and the race itself is going to air on March 3rd, which is Saturday. And this happens on Twitch at 1 p.m. Eastern time. I really do recommend it. This is a lot of fun. It's on the Best of NES channel on Twitch, twitch.tv Best of NES. So just to kind of give you an idea. So if you're not familiar with this race, you might be thinking, okay, they're going to do Mario Brothers, then Mario 2, then Mario 3, and then Zelda and Zelda 2, and then stuff like that. And they really don't. I mean, it's not that there are no big games in this. There are. But it really does dig pretty deeply into kind of the NES catalog. So, the first game on the list, I'm not going to go through all of these, Donkey Kong Jr. Math. And this was, okay. There's always this time, right, where some sort of pastime is trying to justify itself, and so they try to make themselves educational. And you see this in television, and so you have regular like programming that's just pure entertainment, but then you have stuff like Sesame Street, right? That actually you can try to learn something from. And when I first got my Commodore 64, this was there was a game on there that was kind of like this Cave of the Word Wizard that I think I've actually talked about in a previous episode. But it was this game designed to try to help kids learn to spell. And it was really, video games trying to justify themselves. Like, see, we can be educational. We're not terrible for people. I'm not the biggest fan of this practice, because I really don't think that we should be overly concerned at how each other entertain. We spend our entertainment time. I think that's in general just a bad habit that we've concocted. That I like reading, and so I'm going to criticize people who like TV, or I like serious TV stuff, and I criticize people who like sports, but I like sports, so I'm gonna criticize the gamers. It's just one of those things. It's like, look, it's our time off. Unless we're getting really just overwhelmed, obsessed with this, and neglecting our duties at home and at work, then just let's let each other entertain ourselves. However, but Donkey Kong Jr. Math is definitely one of these types of games where it's learning how to do some basic math, addition, subtraction, division and multiplication in a Donkey Kong setting. And so it's kind of an interesting game, but you got to beat 3 stages of that. Coming down the list a little bit, you got ice hockey, which actually was one of my favorite NES games. I still just adore that game. And so you're not playing the whole game in this, but you need one to score 3 goals, which can be done very quickly if you know how to play the game. And so a little bit farther down, Dragon's Lair. I'm not sure I knew that there was a Dragon's Lair port on NES. I may have. I'm trying to remember if Angry Video Game Nerd features it, and he might have, might be how I knew about it. But Castlevania 2 is probably the biggest name on the list. But Paperboy was a really big one. I remember the California Raisins being very big cultural icon. I did not realize they had a video game. It should not surprise me. It should not surprise me at all. I watched a little bit of practice on Little Samson. I've never played that, but that looks actually like just a fascinating, fun game. And so, anyways, when you watch on the third, you'll probably encounter a lot of these games that you've never seen before. You know, the people who are competing, a lot of them are practicing, or are already practicing and will continue to practice. Some of them will be trying to run it a little bit blind, but it should be a lot of fun. And some of the people are very good at the game, and so it's always a very fun event. And so I encourage you on the 3rd, 1 o'clock Eastern time, to check that out. If you want to list the game, I'll put the link in the show notes. But it's over at thebestofnes.com. And so this just should be a lot of fun. This is kind of the next big thing that I'm really looking forward to in gaming. In other news, I promised y'all to update you a little bit on how things are going in Final Fantasy IV. This is the first game that I am personally trying to learn how to speedrun.
Yes, please tell us all about it.
Was that sarcastic?
No.
I can't tell if you're being sarcastic.
I'm not.
See, right there, I'm pretty sure he's being sarcastic. I'm pretty sure he's being sarcastic. But in any case, Final Fantasy IV. I started doing a shortened speed run of it that is called the Paladin Percent, or simply Paladin. And what this is an effort to get Cecil to the point on Mount Ordeals where he becomes a paladin. And if you run it efficiently and know the glitches and stuff, you can do this in right about an hour. And so it's a very good introductory speed run. You can do it relatively quickly, not even knowing the glitches, but just running it. There's not a lot of like level grinding required, even if you don't know the glitches. And so it's a very good introductory speed run. And there's a lot of races of this, and it's encouraged people who have not run a Final Fantasy game or an RPG before to jump in on this one, because it's quick. It's quick, it's straightforward, and and it's like that. But you can learn a lot of the cool glitches, and so I was kind of doing a run, and I wasn't even really timing it, but I was kind of doing a run where and this was a few weeks ago, I was just going through, learning the glitches. And I've spoken about this before, and I didn't time myself, but on the in-game timer, when I hit Paladin, it was a bit over 2 hours, which is very long, but this was a lot of mistakes, some big ones, and it was really just trying to learn how to do these things and not necessarily get the best time. So immediately on my first actual timed run, I got a 139, which is very slow, but it's first time run, so this was good. I did 2 more runs, and I am actually at this point at a 108. And let me see if I can pull up the exact time. Why not? It's not like we're, live on the air or something while everybody's waiting while I do this. In all seriousness, I don't know why this isn't coming up. This is one of those things I probably should have done earlier, right? Oh, goodness. Okay, so 108.54 is what I got. That actually does not put me at the very tail end of the leaderboard. It puts me close. There are 90 names on the leaderboard for this particular category. And if I submitted this, I would not be number 91. I think I would be like 86. I can't submit it. I did not record it. I've got to figure out how to do that. And I wasn't expecting to get a halfway decent time. And just for reference, I mean, the world record of this is 58:10. And so I honestly wasn't expecting to get a halfway decent time at this so quickly. I thought I had more time to learn how to record. I thought I'd be, stuck in the 120s for a little bit. But yeah, I've learned quite a bit of the tricks and gotten good at some of them and not so good at the others. The last run I did was one without deaths, which I had not done before. I had died multiple times in previous attempts. But I did not get all the glitches on the first attempt. So,
I hate to interrupt.
What, Drum, what is it?
We have a caller on line 1.
Well, it's not, Drum, it's not time for that.
You want to take this one?
Okay. All right, John, fine. Let's, caller, hold on. Caller, you are on the line with Kai. Who am I speaking with?
Hey, yeah, Kai, it's Paul.
Paul, good to talk with you. What's on your... Oh, Paul. Oh, yeah. Hey, everybody, this is Paul Lytle. This is actually one of our sponsors. Very good book that we are advertising for, Paul. Haven't read it yet, but I have it on very good authority that it's quite good.
Yeah, Kai, that's fine. I've been told that you've been just skipping the commercials lately.
Well, not lately. I mean, we did the commercials last week.
And when, from what I understand, Drum forced you to put them in at the beginning of the show.
It was distinctly not the beginning of the show. It was before the interview.
Mm-hmm. And the week before that?
Oh, well, we had a longer interview then, and it just was going really, really well. And so I didn't think that you would mind.
You didn't think that I would mind my commercial being skipped that I pay you for.
Well, you're not really paying us. You're paying us in Wii points, which are going away soon.
They're not. They haven't gone away yet, have they?
Well, no. But it's getting really close.
But they're still worth something, aren't they?
I guess. Technically the Wii store is still open for a little bit longer. You can add points for just a little bit longer, and so yes, they are worth something. We can buy games.
Okay, so you're taking the Wii points, and so you need to do the ad.
Yeah, Paul, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. We had we actually had 3 really good interviews in a row, and 2 of them were kind of long, and there wasn't really a break in the middle of it, if you know what I mean, that we could jam a commercial in there.
And yet, you had plenty of time to talk about playing this Final Fantasy game 30 times in a row.
It wasn't 30 times. It was a few times. It was 4 times. 4 times is how many times I've played it.
The same game.
Yes. Yes. Paul, yes.
Kai, man, I mean, I really appreciate y'all spreading the news about the book and all, but you've got to actually run the commercial.
10-4. I will. We're gonna jump to commercial here very, very soon, and we're gonna play your commercial.
Kai, the Yellow Canary commercial is not on deck for today.
Drum, let's play the Yellow Canary.
What do you mean it's not on deck?
It's fine. We're gonna play the Yellow Canary commercial. That's of course. Of course, we're gonna play the Yellow Canary commercial. That's what we do here. That's what we do. We draw in a big audience so they can hear the Yellow Canary.
Kai, I've already explained to you about the download numbers.
The download numbers are fine. They're fine.
What about the download numbers?
They are fine. Paul, everything's fine. Everything's fine, man. It's all good. I'm on top of it. 10-4. I understand. We will not make that mistake again.
All right, man. I appreciate it, and remember, let's keep the positive image of me in the book when we're on the air.
Right. So yeah, don't do any. We would never try to portray you in a disparaging manner when we're on the air. Right, Drum?
Kai, we are on.
Right, Drum?
Kai, we are on the.
Right, Drum? Just say right.
Kai, we are.
Okay. I'm sorry. Drum's mic went out.
Well, I'm gonna go get a massage here, and I will catch you later.
Thanks, Paul. You're the best. We're going to run that commercial right now.
He comes in the night, seemingly out of nowhere, a blur of yellow whose only mission is justice. His name is already legend, but the reality doesn't quite line up with the myth, and we're about to find out exactly how wrong we've been about him. He is the Yellow Canary. The Yellow Canary is a comedic thriller by Paul Lytle about a would-be superhero who may just be crazy enough to make a difference. The Yellow Canary by Paul Lytle, available from Amazon in print and on Kindle. Check for the link in the show notes.
Hey, Drum, did you know that the Techno Funk Boy isn't just a group of podcast hosts that live inside a Super Nintendo?
Really?
That's right, we're also a band.
Tell me more.
We're a retro gaming inspired band that plays covers of classic video game themes, original game music, and other music in the style of classic games.
That sounds great.
Yeah, and you can find our first full-length album on iTunes, Amazon, and CD Baby. It's called the Final Fantasy Mixes, and it's an EDM tribute to some of Uematsu's best musical themes. Check the episode notes for links or go to Techno Funk Boy to learn more.
Techno Funk Boy sounds like the greatest band that has ever existed.
I programmed him to say that.
We're back.
Okay, and we are back. Now, we're going to do this a little bit differently than we normally do. Normally, when we roll out of a commercial, we are jumping right into some little bit of video game music that we want to talk about. But in this case, we are going to be tackling some music from Earthbound, one of easily the greatest games of all time. And so, a lot of ink has been spilled on Earthbound. A lot of discussion of theories of just appreciation of the game has been spilt. It is probably what I would consider the deepest one of the deepest games ever made, in that it works on so many levels. It is a parody. It is social commentary. It is just a very entertaining game. It is touching. It is all these things. It's ridiculous. Very intentionally ridiculous. It's just all in all brilliant, and it tries to do everything, and it does everything, and it does everything well. And while it's doing all of these things, it's also being very innovative. And it actually did a bunch of stuff in gameplay that you almost really wish that other RPGs would have really picked up on. I mean, one of the big things was, the monsters show up on the map with you, and if y'all are the same level or they're stronger than you, then they charge you. But if you're stronger than they are, they run away. And if you sneak up behind them, then you get kind of a surprise attack. As the same way if they sneak up behind you. But if the game figures out that you're going to win this battle within one round, it won't make you fight the battle. It just gives you the win and all the experience and such. So it's like really cool stuff like that when, ever since Dragon Warrior, every time we walked back to the castle and we got attacked by another slime, we're like, oh my goodness, why do we have to go through this battle again? The slime has 0 chance of winning this. They're not even going to hurt me. And so it was like this breath of fresh air came in where we're like, oh my goodness, they actually solved the problem. This is amazing. It's just amazing. And the innovation was not just in the way the game progresses. The innovation also comes in the music. And so the Earthbound in general has a very large soundtrack. It is, in fact, let me see. I'll pull it up here. If you count all of the little, sometimes very short tunes, that just, hey, you got an item, you want to battle and stuff like that. We are at over 170 tracks on this NES game. In fact, the soundtrack was so big that they couldn't use the normal chip that they were using in NES games because the music alone filled up that entire chip. And so they had to put extra memory into this game just so they could have it out. So the main person, the main force behind the soundtrack, and there were several composers, but the main force was a guy named Hip Tanaka. And he was this musician that did a lot of the really interesting early video game soundtracks. We're talking like Metroid, that were not doing the same thing that everybody else was doing. It was taking kind of these sci-fi elements that, the different type of electronica sounds, and he was incorporating these into video games in a way that a lot of people weren't. And this is definitely what he's going after in Earthbound. This game has heavy science fiction elements. It is a Japanese role-playing game, but it is not set in a medieval world or steampunk or, anything like that. It is an alien invasion. And so Hip Tanaka is the perfect guy for this because he is introducing these electronica elements, these science fiction elements that's really making the soundtrack interesting. So what I want to do, I told you earlier that we didn't want to just chat about Earthbound because that's been done a lot. And we do like to focus a lot on music in this game, but I didn't want to just do an episode about Earthbound music because there's too much. There's too much to go through. And if you're trying to pick apart what Tanaka's doing in the soundtrack and the other people who are involved with him, it really helps to dig quite a bit deeper into it and really pick out some of the stuff that is going on in the music that makes it interesting. So some of the things that he was doing in this was, like playing with time signatures, playing with different tones, really kind of warping sounds, but also taking samples from other popular songs, from stuff from the Beatles, that sort of thing, and warping them and putting it into the soundtrack. And stuff like that we're going to get to, not today, but in a future episode. What I want to do is actually spend some time with this, and not all at once, but we're going to take one song today. And in a future episode, we're going to take another song, and we're going to kind of pick apart the soundtrack and see how the music is interacting with the game and the player. And so that's kind of the overall goal. And so if you don't like Earthbound, just try it anyways, cause there's some really actually cool stuff going on with this. And so I think you're going to find it interesting, whether or not you are a huge fan of the game or you have bad taste in video game. I mean, you don't like it, for whatever reason. So want to listen to part of a song. And this is a very simple song. A lot of the music in Earthbound is very short, very simple. They're not like these 4-minute Uematsu tracks that, like the other RPG composers were doing. They're very quick, but there were a lot of them. And so you didn't hear the same battle theme over and over and over again. In fact, there were many battle themes, and which song you got was based on what type of enemy you were facing. And so there's a category under the song, battle against a weak opponent. These are the enemies that are most likely, well, first of all, that are the easiest in a given area to defeat. But they're also the most likely to just kind of stumble over themselves, which happens in battles. Earthbound, this kind of the status ailment thing in Earthbound is really interesting. It's like your character, you actually play children in this game, and if you haven't called your mother for a while, like, you can get homesick. And being homesick will cause you to just kind of miss a turn. But this sort of thing happened to enemies too, that sometimes they would get distracted by something, and or they would do some sort of gesture or movement that wouldn't actually result in an attack, but it would actually cause them to miss their turn. And this is the sort of thing, and some of them were just absolutely downright hilarious. Like I said, this is a game that's intentionally ridiculous at times. And really plays off that they're being wacky, they're being out there, but because they're kind of so out there and playing with such strange ideas, they're able to just throw in these little jokes and such that, normal game would shy away from. So, I mean, just as an example, one of these weak enemies that you fight is a spiteful crow. And one of the things that the spiteful crow might do in a battle is to have a big grin on its face. And so here's this idiot bird that's smiling at you, and it wastes a turn doing that. And so, it gives you kind of a free action. But you're going to, I say all this because you're going to hear this in the music. You're going to hear this in the music because when you start going through this song, you're going to think that you know where it's going, and all of a sudden the song stumbles over itself and it has to reset itself. And this actually happens 3 times in the loop, and it's a very short song. We're going to play the loop once, and then we're going to pick it apart just a little bit. But without further ado, we'll jump right in. This is Battle Against a Weak Opponent, composed by Hip Tanaka. Okay, we're back. Now, this is, like I said, this is a very simple tune. It's basically two different chords, and then the song shifts down a full step, and so you then have the same chord progression, just in a slightly lower key. But basically, that's all it is. And it's in 4/4 time. So you're moving along, grooving right along in 4/4 time, which is 4 beats per measure. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then that doesn't work anymore. And Tanaka actually puts in these moments in the song where the time signature shifts and throws you off. And it starts off doing that by adding an extra beat. And so you could either count it as, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1. There's this extra beat in there, and it's meant to jolt you a little bit, because that's what's actually happening in the battle. And I find it really interesting the way some of these composers for role-playing games handled their battle music, because they put, and I'm especially like Uematsu in the Final Fantasy soundtracks, they put these different themes and different movements in the song so that the song is as best as it can in a pre-recorded sound file. It is moving along with the battle. So if you get in like an Uematsu battle theme, there's going to be parts that are very abrupt, that are very, kind of minor key, not necessarily what we would consider like really creepy or scary, but that they're very jolting, and you feel like that, you're in this battle and the other guy's got the upper hand and things are going badly, but things shift and change, and then it'll go into a more triumphant or heroic melody, and then it will go back and forth, and it will do different things with these type of themes, and it kind of has that same kind of motion as a battle might go in the game itself. And Tanaka is doing the same thing here, but he's not doing it with as long of a theme as Uematsu, or as complicated. He's doing something very simple here, but he's still adding in those elements of how the battle is going. And especially when you're against a weak opponent, and this theme pops up a whole lot at the very beginning of the game when you're weak too. And so you're missing, you're going against that Spiteful Crow, and you're just whiffing, in your attack against this crow. And then the crow has a big grin on his face. And so that's kind of a stumble for the crow, and these things are happening. And so Tanaka's got you off, kind of off kilter a little bit. And so you progress a little bit more, but this time you're expecting it. And so the last time we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1. And then we kind of do the same thing again, but this time he's going to throw you off again by making that little stumble not even a full beat. So the first time it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1. All right? Constant beat. The second time, it's going to go a little faster. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? And so the first time, we added an extra 1/4 measure in there. And the 4 refers to a quarter note. It's not as important to know as the 1 is that one extra beat. But the second time, he's actually slipping into a 3/16 measure. And so it's actually think about it like this. It is 25% shorter in length as the 1/4. To think of these exactly like fractions. All right. So, 1/4 is the same as, fraction wise. I'm not talking about key signature. We're not going to take it too far, but fraction wise, 1/4 is the same as 4/16. And so 3/16 is just 25% less. And so it's a little bit faster. And then he's actually going to throw you off by not doing it again for a long time. But first, let's actually play. I want to play these first 4 measures so that we can hear it. And I want you to pay attention to how and I'm going to count along with the music and how the first time through we go and we get a full beat inserted into the song and how much is throwing us off. And then the second time, how much is cut off of that one beat so that it's not even a full beat anymore and how disorienting it is yet again. So hold on, let's get this started and we will take a listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, did you hear that second time? It's a little bit faster. Okay, all right. Did you hear it? We're gonna play it one more time because I want us to hear this. I'm gonna try to clap along a little bit. Try to punctuate a little bit more about how the second time that beat goes through faster. And so that's what we're listening for here. Hold on, and we'll go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 1, 2. So first of all, I think that's really cool, and what I want us to see is that Tanaka is, and as we go, and we're going to be, if I didn't mention, we're going to be digging into Earthbound music a lot as we go. It's going to be kind of a recurring thing for us because this soundtrack, as far as video game soundtracks go, this is one of the most important. And it's because of stuff like this. It's because Tanaka was really just kind of throwing caution to the wind, playing with some really interesting ideas, stuff that nobody was doing in video game music at the time. And it was really, really successful. And it was kind of the nature of the whole game that just allowed for this to happen because it was such a weird game. And it really opened the door to let the musicians come in and be weird with it too. And so that's what's going on here. And we're going to be hitting up on a lot of these songs as we go and kind of dig into them in more depth because the Earthbound soundtrack's got a lot of interesting stuff going on in it that is making it one of the most complex and innovative and brilliant soundtracks in video game history. And this is one of the reasons why, because you're in a battle. You're in a battle that is not going to be a straightforward battle. And so you have battle music that is not straightforward. Right? And the music itself is telling you this is almost your comedy relief battle. Because it's not going to be hard. The enemy's going to be doing stupid stuff. You're probably low level at this point, and so you're going to make a fool of yourself in the battle too. It's just going to be this like comedy of errors thing. And the music is the same way. So it's hard to dance to. And that's, there's a lot of music in Earthbound that's very easy to dance to. But this one's hard to dance to because it keeps being interrupted. And we haven't even really gotten to the third interruption, which, at the beginning, it did the first interruption at the end of measure 2, second interruption at the end of measure 4, but then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 measures go without an interruption. And then it hits the third and final interruption of the loop. And that one is still shorter. And so again, it's trying to vary these interruptions to keep you off tempo, to keep you kind of guessing as to where things are going and why. And that fits these battles just absolutely perfectly. Oh, and it does look like Drum, do we have a phone call?
Yes, we have a caller on line 1.
Oh, great. Okay. Fantastic. Let us put said caller through. Caller, you are on the line.
Yeah, so this is Red.
Hey, Red. How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing well. So this is a really interesting topic. I'm actually a music student, and this is very interesting because of a project that I'm working on right now.
Oh, cool, cool. Well, hey, I'm glad to help. What is the project on?
Yeah. So this is I have to do a I I have to make it like a composition, okay? But I have to use mixed meter for it.
Oh, well, great. So, I didn't mention it, but that's actually, the term that what Tanaka is doing here is a mixed meter. And what it means very, very simply is that, you're not using the same 4/4 time the whole song. You're actually switching it up a lot. And going back and forth between what's called time signatures, which is like the 4/4 and such. And so, you get this a lot in progressive rock. They like to add or subtract beats to measures, or sometimes do a really weird timeness signature. But that's the kind of thing, that's the kind of mixed meter thing that we're talking about here.
Yeah, and so I was having a lot of trouble with it, but this is really helpful. You said that what is the name of it?
Battle against a weak opponent.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And so they I was listening to it, and I was trying to figure out what the chords are, playing. Do you happen to know that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first little thing is just he's going back and forth between an F and an E flat. And then they transpose that one step down, a little bit late into the second phase of the song, and so there it's an E flat and a D flat.
Oh, that's really cool. So what the little interlude things that they're putting in there? What are they? What is he playing there?
Oh goodness, that's tough to say. I mean, I found I found some sheet music online. It looks like this was arranged by Static. We'll go ahead and put that in the show notes, so that you can take a look. Anybody can take a look at that. But yeah, I found this sheet music online, which has been really, really helpful. It's a really good transcription of things.
Oh, that's good. It does seem a little difficult to play. Are you what, could maybe you do like a recording of this? To kind of show us how?
I mean, I technically I probably could. I don't. I mean, why don't I guess I could link to the song itself. I'm sure there's a online version of it.
Well, I'm not really looking for like a professional recording of it. I want something that sounds like maybe I did it in my basement, or that you did it in your basement.
I really I don't know that that's really something I'm gonna have time for today.
Oh, that's okay. I'm looking at the sheet music now. Hey, is there a way to delete the composer's name and the game name, and maybe put something else in there?
Red, are you plagiarizing the song right now?
No.
Red, it sounds like you're plagiarizing the song.
No, it's very inspiring, and I wanted to give it an amateur recording of it to my teacher, who I think would appreciate it. Because we're talking about this in class.
Red, I'm gonna let you go. I would definitely discourage turning this into your teacher and pretending like it's yours. That wouldn't be right.
So you don't think it's right to? You don't think it'd be right to, like, take somebody else's recording and just alter it a little bit and make it your own?
No, that would be, that would be, yeah, that wouldn't be good. That would be plagiarism.
Didn't you say that's what Tanaka did?
Yeah. Okay, I mean, yeah, you got me there. That's true. That he did do that, but I think he's doing this a little bit differently than you're talking about.
I don't know. I don't really see how this is a problem.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Hold on. Okay. I mean, it is true. It is true that part of a good chunk of the Earthbound soundtrack is made up of samples from other songs, like from the Beatles and stuff, that the composers used in a very specific way and for a specific reason. And we're actually going to get into that, and why it works for the song. But that's not at all the same thing as taking somebody's song and claiming it as your own in school. This is different. This is video games.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna play around with this sheet music and see what I can do with it. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I guess I walked into that one. Okay, so, oh goodness. Well, before we go today, I would like to ask for you to do something for me. I would like you to share the show, with your friends. Give it to at least 2 people who you think might enjoy it. And, in that way, that way,
our numbers can go up.
Well, yeah, I mean, technically, yes. Our numbers are fine. But, we do want to see the audience grow. We know that there's a lot of people out there who really would, enjoy the show. And so please do take it. Give it to 2 friends. And, I know you know some people who would enjoy it and, who are not listening currently. And so please do give it out. Please do go to our website. Check out our show notes page. The sheet music for this song, we'll have a link to that sheet music from our show notes page. We will also have the full version of the song, as well as always, our soundtrack of the week and all sorts of other fun stuff. We do try to pack in quite a few, little tidbits into our show notes, several links to interesting things that might be related to what we are talking about. And so I do hope that you will check that out. And that is at technofunkboy.com/24. That's for episode 24, which is the episode that you are currently listening to. technofunkboy.com/24, and you will find us there. In the meantime, we will be here bright and early next Friday, as always. And so we will see you then. Have a good one.
The Retro Zoo Super Show is brought to you by the Techno Funk Boy. Follow us on Twitter at Techno Funk Boy, on Facebook at the Techno Funk Boy, and sign up for our email list at technofunkboy.com. Also look for us on Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon for music. If you are so inclined, please leave us a 5-star rating and review on your favorite podcast catcher. If you are not so inclined, you are obviously some sort of villain trying to conquer the world. Unowned music and gameplay clips are used for educational and critical purposes. Thank you for listening, keep gaming, and unless you have responsibilities that need to be done at this time, then you can game later.